All right, so in this video, we're gonna go through managing deals. Both myself and Kevin are going to break down the different parts of a deal board and how deals work inside of Pebble. So here we are with managing deals. So now we're going to work the actual opportunities inside of here. You've done your marketing, you've gotten communication come in. Now we're going to track the deals across these different stages. So this is what we call our deal board. This deal board is specifically just for sellers. You can have a deal board for managing projects to a deal board for buyers. Today on this video, we're just going to focus on the acquisition side. So for sellers that we're tracking here. As Kevin mentioned earlier, you can have maybe multiple seller boards. You have an acquisition manager in a certain state and another one in another state, and they want to keep things separate with different phone numbers and different emails. They can certainly do that as well. And so typically on a deal board, you're going to have all these columns. These represent stages, and they sort of give you a nice visual way of tracking where all your deal opportunities are in the different sort of stages here as you're moving it through to acquire that property or whatever the end goal here is. So again, it's a nice visual way. Some people call this a Kanban board. We call it our deal board here. And you can see at the bottom here, Brian was created. You can create as many stages as you'd like. By hitting add stage, you can drag and move stages around as you'd like as well. You can rename those stages. And so by default, you're going to have your sort of a few stages set up inside of here. So I'm going to go ahead and click into a deal card here. This is what we call a deal card. You can drag again from left to right. A deal card I like to describe it as a container. It contains several things, including the contacts, the property or properties. It's not the property itself, the card. It contains property or properties. Also notes in there and task lists. So everything associated with this actual deal. So I'll click right into it here and we can sort of have a look here. We've got our tasks. These tasks can be automated. You can generate tasks. You can automate them by generating a task and then saving it as a template. We've got a walkthrough on that on our knowledge base, how to do that. We've got Brian Warren here as a contact. And Kevin, we can have multiple contacts on here, right? And when would that sort of happen?
Yeah, so let's say that you're walking through Brian and you've signed a contract and now you need to bring in a title company. So you may want to add that title agent as a contact on this deal. So I've got Brian the seller, I've got the title agent. Now at any point my team can hop in here and give a call to the title agent. So that could be maybe you have a surveyor that you want to add here to the deal. So anything like that can be added to that.
Yeah, and under here, you're going to see the properties associated to that deal. So right now, I'm negotiating for all three of these. And I can have a quick look at the property itself and the property fields here with these drop downs. I can also go up to the top here and toggle to that property and have a look at it from here. I'm still on the deal and make notes or look at the property on the mapping. So you have access to that as well. But back to the deal summary here. Kevin, can you explain how notes work here and what are we using notes for?
Yeah, so notes really are your internal conversation happening around this deal. So for most people, you're going to want to track a bunch of information about maybe I want to track the conversation I had. I want to talk about, I did my initial due diligence. Now I need to loop in another team member to put together a purchase contract. So I can actually, using the @ sign, I can mention anybody, and that's going to send that person a notification to come in here and check this deal. I can reply to conversations, which is a great way to be able to separate different things going on. I can also pin conversations or pin notes to the top of the page here. Maybe there's an important note that I want to leave at the top, so I can do that by pinning it. And then I can also mention replying, pinning. Yeah, so this is really just a way for your internal team to communicate with one another about a specific deal.
Yeah. All right. And one more thing I want to talk about here, going back to the board here, we are moving things from left and right. And so for acquisitions, right, if we're acquiring that property, let's go into one of these here and it reaches the end here. We actually need to then mark this property as purchased. That's sort of the end goal here. And to do that, we can come into the property itself. we'll go ahead and mark this property as purchased. We're going to enter in the information here, the purchase price, the purchase date, closing costs, additional costs, and funding provided, if there is any funding provided. Those numbers will actually feed into your ROI. So really important for your KPIs as well. Now, that deal card is still going to remain open. If I don't want that visually showing on my deal board anymore, I would come into that deal card itself and hit close deal. There may be times you don't actually acquire a property and it's just one that you're not going to end up and you'll just want to close it. Closing the deal does not mean you actually purchase the property. You're just closing it and removing it visually from all the open and active deals. You can look at all deals, even the closed ones, using this filter here at the top.